So I hope you came up with some good practice banners. And what we're going to do now is take it to the next step where we're going to make those designs into something that you can use in your own artwork. So we had started with the basic designs. So we've added a little shadow. I showed you could add a word. You could put your name in there. What I'm going to show you now is how you can make a flag that looks like it's waving. All right, so we're going to work on that. Ideally, you will now be able to draw a shape that looks like it's actually moving, maybe blowing in the wind, or folded, so it's going up and over like this. Awesome. See that example? That's awesome. If you are loving doing this project, you could also think about doing an American flag. The way that this curves, and I was going to mention this before, and I'll show you in a second, with the squares, the way this curves, it appears that the fabric is folded under itself and then coming back around. And you can see it doing it twice here. So we're using the same basic concept as the single banner, but we are doing the flag with the 13 stripes. If we were to do an American flag, you know, don't count my stars, but this would be blue here and then white stars. And then we would have red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white. See that? Red, white, red, white, red. And if you or I were to follow, and if you have this idea in your mind, you want to draw an American flag and you're going to color it in, with your red, you would color in red to here and then stop. And then this could be a dark red because flags do have color on both sides generally. Or you could just have it dark, just black. And then this would be red again, and then stop, and then this would be red again. See that? So this line would be white, stop, white, stop, white. So it's staggered a little bit to make it appear that this is going over the edge. See that? So what I was thinking that you can remember as you're drawing these is like the old days. Remember when you first learned about geometry and how a square could then become a cube? Remember how you could draw this? You drew two squares, one in front of the other, and then you connected them with these lines. And there were imaginary lines inside connecting them to make it look three-dimensional like that. This dotted line, this line is what is behind our designs. So it's an imaginary line. Your mind knows it's there. Your eyes almost can see it. But we are using visual techniques. We are using art to make it appear to go up and down. So that is no longer just a rectangular flag. That now looks like it's waving. So let's draw a banner. Pretend we have a banner on a stick. So there's our flagpole. And we're going to have it curve a little bit, like the wind's blowing from the left. We're going to go down. Okay, there's our banner. So that's kind of plain, simple. It might work if you were doing something, like a basic design. But what if you wanted to have, we could do the happy birthday. Pretend it's tied on. That string goes through there. Then the flagpole maybe should be a little bit more dimensional. On the top of the flagpole. And I suggest if you're using marker that you stop, put it down, and get out your pencil. Happy birthday has a lot of letters if we're going to squeeze that all in there. You can plan it out where you have a similar space, top to bottom, or across the lines, so your letters don't get crazy big and small. And then the way I drew it, mine is bigger here, and then it gets a little bit smaller so that it's like it's blowing in the wind going further away. So I'm going to, in pencil, draw my words in first, just to make sure they fit. Because I know it's easy to not space them right. There's happy. And see how my lettering is going around the curve. I'm not just going to go straight across. I'm going to tilt my letters. Happy birthday. Now I can use my marker. And maybe you've got some extra markers at home that you want to use, different colors. This would be a great idea to do different colors. Happy birthday. Now, what if we want to make the flag appear to be three-dimensional? So we're going to draw lines at a slight angle so that the shadow is going to be underneath that banner. And then lightly shade it. And you could use a different color. You could use pencil. You could use little lines. You could use cross hatching. Lots of different techniques that you've learned in art class that you could use at this point. But remember, we have a bottom edge here. There's also a bottom edge here. So we're going to draw a line, same angle as that, and bring it to there. Okay? So there's our happy birthday banner. And maybe you liked my idea before where there was stitching. You could do a little stitching. Maybe a little stitching here. Maybe a little stitching on this edge. All right? So lots of different techniques you can use to make your design more fluid, so it curves. Remember, the trick is your eye doesn't visually see that, but your brain is telling you that that is a three-dimensional cube. Your brain is telling you that this flag, which is on flat piece of paper, you know what I mean? It's just flat piece of paper. It's telling you that it curves, and it's bigger here, and it's going further away. So this is your assignment. Your assignment is to make a flag. It can be a banner, happy birthday. It can be your name. It can be an American flag or some other country flag. But your flag needs to have some sort of motion so that it appears to be blowing in the wind. All right? That's your assignment, to create a flag or a banner that appears to be blowing in the wind. All right, can't wait to see your projects. I know you'll do great. All right, if you want a few easy steps to create an American flag that's kind of waving, I'm going to show you quickly how to make that. So first, and do this lightly because we're going to do some erasing. Draw a rectangle. Actually, you're going to draw a parallelogram. So have a slight angle. There's one. Draw another one next to it, about maybe 2/3 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch down. So draw another one, same size, same angles, and then draw a third. All right, so there are 3 rectangles. Instead of connecting the bottom corner to the bottom line of the first rectangle like we did with our banner practice, I'd like you to make a V just a little bit below where that edge would be. Okay, so you're going to make a V. Do that here as well. Just a little bit below where that line would be. Pretend that that line all right, you're going to just pretend that that line exists, but we don't need that line anymore. So erase that line, straight line, and then connect the bottom edge to that V. So we've erased this line that was here. We've erased that line. Okay, erase that line. Now we need to curve the corner that are sharp. So there's 3 corners that are sharp on the top. That one, and that one. And then you can erase the corners. So now we have 3 curves. The bottom, we will leave the corner that's here. That can stay. But this one needs to curve. And then this one needs to curve. This one needs to curve. And then this one needs to curve. And you can see that it's sort of making a, in my case, it's making a backwards S. If there's anything sharp there, just erase the sharp corner parts. The ones on top are probably okay. So this, again, this can stay squared. This can stay squared. And this can stay squared. The tricky part for making an American flag is getting the blue field of stars in the right place and then keeping your lines approximately the same distance apart. American flags have 13 stripes. The blue field is in the top 7 stripes section. So it's a little bit tricky, and there's a couple different ways you can do it. You know, you can measure with centimeters and then figure it out, half centimeters. You can measure in inches. I think the best bet is to find the center of this space. So here's 2 1/4 inches. So 1 1/8 would be the middle, and then drop it down a little bit more. Now this is just an estimate. This space here, and you can draw the line across. So it's a little bit more than half. This space here, plus a little bit in this section, that will be the field of blue. And the stars will be drawn in here. There will be 7 stripes here, and then we'll figure that out. Figure out how you can space it so that it looks good in this section. And then there's going to be 6 in here for the American flag. So based on the size of your drawing, I can't give you an exact dimension, you know, the exact length of these stripes, but you can go ahead and measure. You can take that space, that 1 inch, and divide it into 6s for the bottom, and then use the same dimensions at the top. You can just, use your eye. You can say it's going to be approximately here. But I recommend that you draw a few lines really lightly with your pencil on the side so that you get approximately the right width of your stripes. Okay, so you can figure that out now. Again, there's going to be 6 on the bottom. And have those lines curve like the top and like the bottom. Okay, and if you need to adjust, you can adjust the bottom edge now. And I'm going to erase that straight line. So let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 6 there. Good. On the top again, there's going to be 7. So there's 1. And this is a more dramatic curve on this. 2, 3. So I'm getting a little bit smaller. 6. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7. These lines start that much below. Again, we need to have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good. If you were to get out your markers or your colored pencils, this would be red. So red, white, red, white, red, white, red. This is the red one here, then white. Okay, so let's draw 6 more. 1, 2, 3. So now we have to remember the space is going to be divided up. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it doesn't look too strange. We want to make sure we have good spacing. And they can get closer together as they get over here if you want. Okay. I'm going to adjust the bottom edge of this like I did on the other side. Have a nice curve in there. Keep that V present. And this one too. Again, if you were to color this with pencil, colored pencil or marker, this would be red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red, white, red. You can draw faint lines in the back. This would be the back side of your flag. And remember, if you were to color it, this would be red, this would be white, that would be red. But you could simply shade back there if you want. And I like to have my shading go in the same direction as it would be, as if that were fabric. And then decide what you want to do about your stars. One kind of simple way would be to color this in. If you have blue pencil, that would be great. You could do the blue pencil. And then remember, as you're going around the edge, it would be curved a little bit with your pencil lines. So use hatching to make it look like it's going around the edge, kind of like a contour line. And then a little bit of dark here, a little bit of darker to make it look like it's a crease or a fold. And then lighter again. And if you're happy with that look, you can then take an eraser and just erase a few spots to make the stars, and then you can draw in some stars. Or you could think about a different time in history, do a little research. If you wanted to do the 13 original colonies in the circle, you might want to figure out how to lay those stars out and do that. Otherwise, if you want to do the 50 states, you can do that. Some of the stars are going to be hidden under here. So you don't actually have to worry about all 50. You're not going to have to draw all 50 stars. But think about how you want to do those and have them go around the edge, okay? So that's the beginning of that. I just wanted to remind you that as your flag is waving in the wind and it's creased here, there can be a little bit of shadow. And again, you might be doing this with pencil, so your colored pencil would be darker right here in red, and then lighter as it goes out. And you can do the same thing here. And maybe just make a few adjustments as you go, okay? All right, there is your American flag blowing in the wind.